episode 701, only 299 shows away from the big day, Mike, the big 1,000 show plateau. I like to say to everybody this morning, good morning and welcome back. How you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing great, man. I had a sickness Friday after the show, and I survived. I'm here. I'm back. I'm ready to go.
I'm glad to see you, man. It's a brand new week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Busy weekend here in Pittsburgh as far as sports goes. A lot of things going on, Mike. A lot of things to talk about today. So I'm glad to be back on this fine Monday, March morning here in Western Pennsylvania. We're going to be reaching about 40 some degrees today. I like that. And I got to say, Mike, it's only going to get warmer. I think halfway through the week, it's going to be about 60 degrees here.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I'm tired of being teased. Hot, cold, hot, cold. No, I'm ready. I'm ready for some warm weather now.
Absolutely. Oh, some things going here on my end.
You're acting like Derby right now. I know we missed the guy, but I don't think we miss him that much.
We do got good news on Derpy. We got all kind of good things going on today. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I know that everybody was tuned in to watch the Oscars last night. Yeah, me neither. I didn't watch one single second of it. I got to be honest with you. I didn't even realize it was on. But I did see on social media people were talking about it. So I do know that it was on Oscars. Did you catch any?
I caught a little bit. Conan O'Brien was hosting. I like Conan O'Brien. I think he was one of the best late night hosts. So yeah, I tuned in for a couple of his jokes. I laughed. I thought it was funny. I saw some of the winners. Still don't know how Timothée Chalamet has not won an award. To me, he's going to be like Ed Norton, be one of the greatest actors of his generation and not win. But that's my take on the Oscars.
I got to be honest with you. Good morning. Grid on the gridiron. Nice to see you this Monday morning. What do the Steelers do with their quarterbacks? We're going to jump on that in just 2 seconds. I have to give my take on these Oscars that I did not watch. My Tim Chalamonkey, whoever the hell you just said. I got to be honest. I've never heard of the person, so I don't know. I just never heard of them. What are they playing?
Oh God, he was in Dune. He played Bob Dylan in an epic biopic.
Oh, he was the dude playing Bob Dylan?
Yeah. And most sports fans will know him from his appearance on College Game Day, where he was just rattling off deep knowledge of the sport. And dude's a degenerate gambler too in the sports community, so I like him.
Another thing I wondered over the weekend, can we possibly get any more, Mike, political posts on social media? Please, I don't think there are enough. Please take time and add your political opinion on what memes are telling us to think. I got to be honest, Mike, I'm watching some of these people go back and forth. I don't know which side I find more disgusting at this point, but I do know that they are arguing memes. It's not politics. It's not policy. They're literally arguing memes, which makes me laugh because, again, it's memes, people.
Memes.
Also, we got Mardi Gras starting up this week. You know what that means. Tomorrow is Fat Tuesday, baby. Which another thing that means absolutely nothing to me, just like the Oscars don't. Mike, are you partaking in anything on Fat Tuesday?
No, I will not be partaking in Fat Tuesday, and I will not be partaking in Lent again for 44 years running. It's a streak I'm not willing to break. I've done well. I'm just going to keep going.
You're like me. You just don't participate in anything. No. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I don't do Lent. I don't do, go down the list. Yeah. Come on,
I will be, for the next, how many ever Fridays it will be during Lent, I will be eating the biggest, fattest, juiciest steak I can find. And then I will eat my fish on Thursday. I'm going to be swerving people.
Man, you're killing this year, baby. You're killing. And finally, Mike, you better be prepared. You better be, you know what? I'm warning you. You better be prepared because, Mike, Doge is coming after us. They're coming after us. It's official. They are coming after us for the Columbian House tapes that we got, 12 of them for a penny when we were kids in the mail. We took them little stamps, we put it on that piece of paper and sent it back. We got our 12 tapes and our CDs, and yet has never once paid a single penny toward Columbia
No,
House. So beware,
no.
Mike. I think Doge is on the lookout for us. But you know, yeah.
Between the Doge and the debt collectors trying to get my Columbia House money, once again, 30 some odd years running strong. Come at me, bro. You ain't getting it.
That's what I'm saying. And that, everybody, is a look at the mainstream throughout the weekend. Let's get to sports, guys. A lot of good stuff to talk about today. And I mean a lot of stuff, Mike. It just didn't stop all weekend. I tried keeping up with the sports all weekend, but I got to be honest with you. The big news is this to me. This is the big news. You ready? Mike, are you sitting down?
I am ready.
All right, hold on for this, guys. We are only 9 days away. That's right, 9 days away from the free agency opening in the NFL, 4 p.m. next Wednesday. It all starts, Mike. The legal tampering starts on the 10th through the 12th. And then on Wednesday, it'll be 4 o'clock p.m. From the 10th to the 12th, it'll be legal tampering. Mm-hmm. And then on the 12th, it will be at 4 o'clock p.m. It'll be the free agency. It'll be opening, Mike, and this is when you're going to start to see a lot of players switch teams, moving from here to there to here. The Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, they said that it's time that we're going to make a lot of moves in free agency this year, Mike. So I'm kind of curious to see where they're going to spend their record amount of money that they have sitting there. Of course, 12 days away, Mike. We got the combine out of the way this past weekend. We'll get more into that shortly. But at the end of the day, here we go. It's only next week. Next week is free agency. Like, this is what I wait for.
Oh God, yeah. Agency. It's the the official kickoff of the season. This is the part of the year where we can see the Browns win their Super Bowl every year. That they are the free agency champions. They are the offseason champions. So crown them already. But yeah, it's a lot of guys are going to be on the move this year. And like you said, the cap space increasing, the biggest cap, the salary cap increasing, the biggest caps in NFL history. The Steelers have 50 somewhat million, just under 60 million. Could have more if we cut a couple guys. So it's going to be fun and interesting to see what they do. Hopefully they, decide on whoever the quarterback's going to be. That way you can just, start filling out your roster from there, because whoever's the quarterback coming into this year is not going to be the long-term answer at quarterback. So get that done and then fill out the roster from there. I can't wait.
Let me start on the board. Of course, on the gridiron said, what are the Steelers doing with their quarterbacks? We'll get into that in just 1 second. We're going to talk a lot about quarterbacks today, actually. And Grit also says the Oscars I didn't all watch. Me either, my friend. He says, what the fuck is Fat Tuesday? That's the day before, I don't know, a couple days before Lent.
It's the day before Lent. It's when you can get everything out of your system before, you gotta be pure and clean during that, 30 days, 40 days, whatever long it is.
And it all runs together. It's always the start of Mardi Gras. When Fat Tuesday comes, that's when Mardi Gras is starting. So they wrap it all together. But that, in fact, is tomorrow. Mike participates in Cardinal sinning. Mark Malone, what's up, my brother? Good morning to you today. Also, he says smoking big hooters on Fat Tuesday. That's right, baby. We don't just restrict it to one day. That's right. Fat Hooters is every day, 365 days a week or a year. I'm sorry. Also, Mark Malone. I'm sorry. Grid on Grid says, wait, you guys hate Doge? We don't do politics for obvious reasons. I can tell you this, though. One's in favor, one's not. Take that as you want. We are going to move on. Mike, we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks.
Yes.
Now, we talked a little bit over the weekend, and you and I wanted to talk a little bit on the show about this. I think we might have a resolve. Let's just talk about some of the options first, Mike. Of course, around the league, there was moves this weekend that happened. Matthew Stafford is out of the cards.
Yes.
Which I was a big fan of Matthew Stafford. I thought this guy, he went out to LA, won a Super Bowl. This team, I mean, come on, they ain't really ever that good. I was a fan of Matthew Stafford, what I seen from him. However, he had locked in with the Rams. And this puts the Steelers in a position now where you could either look at these other free agencies. We're looking at Sam Darnold. We're looking at Derek Carr. Every name down the list you're going to hear between now and whenever anything happens. But Mike, there was one particular quarterback at the combine that you and I both agreed they looked pretty good
Yeah.
at the combine, Mike. Jackson Dart out of Ole
Hmm.
Miss is the guy that you and I both agree that, you know what, if the Steelers would, and what they're probably going to do is keep one of these two quarterbacks that we have right
Yep.
now. So let's just say, good morning to Jen on the board. Let's also say this. Let's just say we don't want to go through the Russell Wilson experience again. The guy's a midget. We've all agreed on that. So maybe they may go with Justin Fields early. Keep him at, as they did last year. He put up pretty good numbers. There's things that that are left to be desired.
Yeah.
However, let's hear us out. Let's say they go Justin Fields to start out with a Jackson Dart that you might be able to get in the second or third
Hmm.
round. Now, Jackson Dart's looking good. He's somewhat gritty, and he's got that look in his eyes, guys. If on the show, we often talk about the X factor that quarterbacks have or don't have. There's something I like about Jackson Dart. So let's just say you take Jackson Dart, Mike, in the second or third round in the draft this year. You start the season with Justin Fields, see how it goes, and let him play it out. Let Jackson Dart follow him up, learn from him, learn the system, and then maybe Jackson Dart, who I think could be a pretty good Steeler quarterback down the road. Mike, of all the possibilities out there, and again, Grid on Grid said Aaron Rodgers. I would love to see him in a Steeler uni. So I mean, there's a plethora of ideas, rumors, and possibilities happening. We know this, Mike. But give me some insight on
Oh,
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart. He's rising up the boards. Normally that gives me pause for concern, but like some of the guys that I follow that break down quarterbacks, guys who, were former NFL quarterbacks themselves and got last year right saying that, Jaden Daniels was QB1. Okay, I'm going to take your opinion seriously. So, following along and he's breaking down Jackson Dart's game film, and he has him as the number 2 quarterback. And you can see it out of the quarterbacks that threw at the combine. He looked the best. He looked
He was sharp.
calm, cool, collected, didn't let anything bother him there. His throws were on time, in stride. Guys weren't having to reach behind them on any of the throws that where you wanted to see them, where he was leading the guys. I just like the way he was playing. I like that, he 3 years at Old Miss put up pretty good numbers year in, year out, and that's not a traditional powerhouse program. Now, he had some pretty good weapons around him in the offense. He was able to move the
And
ball.
you're playing pretty good
Yeah,
competition in
he
that
played really
conference
good
as well.
competition, and you know, and he's not afraid to sit there and take a hit. He reads the defense pretty well. I just think he has better potential than some of the, your top guy in this draft is Cam Ward. It's him, and then there's a bunch of other guys.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have Shador. People might say he's 2. Now, after the combine, people bumping him down to quarterback 3, moving Jackson Dart up. So those are your top 3. Then after that, you got your Will Howards, you got your Jalen Milrose, the guy from Syracuse, Kyle McCord. Right now, Jackson Dart would be the one that I would look for the Steelers if you can get him in the second round. Hopefully, I would love it if he would fall to the third round. That way we can go, wide receiver, running back, rounds 1 and 2, wide receiver, D line, 1, 2, and the quarterback in round 3. But if you think that he's your guy, and the Steelers met with him, they met with him at the Senior Bowl, met with him at the Combine. If you think he's your guy, trade up. Make sure you grab him in the second round. Get your wide receiver round 1, quarterback round 2. And we have free agency
Mike,
to fill out the rest of the roster too. I'm not opposed to getting this guy, but if we don't get him, I'm not going to sweat it because next year's class is even better than this year's class.
And what's sweeter than picking your future quarterback that's going to lead your team for the next 10 years or so in the city of Pittsburgh at the draft in 2026? I don't know what could be more exciting, but as you said, Jackson Dart is not a bad idea. Mike, let's get into a few of these messages. People are talking about the quarterbacks on the board. Mark Malone says, I'd like to see Big Rudy back in the black and the gold. Also, Grid on Grid says, should quarterback rookies should sit 1 or 3 years behind a vet or start right away, or is it the case by case? Let's jump on this one for a couple minutes, Mike. I believe it's case by case, for sure. I think what they're doing in Green Bay is the way to do it. The way they went from Favre to Rodgers to Love. I think that they probably draft quarterbacks and handle the quarterback situation better than anybody. They've laid
Mm-hmm.
their groundwork for every quarterback coming up for 3 decades now. You got to like what they're doing, and that tells me that you know what, that's not a bad system if you do it right. On the other hand, you get a Big Ben Roethlisberger in his rookie season.
Yeah.
Second game comes around, they throw him in there, throw him into the Wolves. He goes 14-0 after that. So you know what? It all depends on the player. It depends on the team. Depends on the situation. But for where we're at right now, you almost think that you'd want to get a guy that's going to come and sit behind a starter, learn the system, especially right out of college. Mike, in you know, whether it be Justin Fields under center, whether it be Sam Darnold, I think at some point you got to pull the trigger and try to get that guy. I know Sam Darnold's going to cost a lot of money, so that's probably not probable. But Mike, I just think right now, let me get to the next guy because I know that he does talk about Justin Fields. Corey Beavers, good morning, my friend. He says Fields 2-year deal, wide receiver in the first, corner in the second, maybe a QB in the third, running back in the fourth. It's hard for me to imagine another defensive player in the first. Terrell Austin doesn't utilize the talent well. Mark says hail to Nizzo on the dart in the second. And let's see what does Grit on Grit says. Reminds me of Gino, could revitalize his career with a decent year, fall off again, he ain't it. And then Grit also goes on to say, I'm a Packer fan. I do miss watching Big Ben. He would never go down. He was just such a Pittsburgh
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. And unfortunately, a lot of Pittsburghers want that guy back. They want a Pittsburgher. They want a tough guy to take down. They want a guy who's going to fight. But again, you know, catching that lightning in a bottle is tough. Over enthusiastic in term mod, Caleb. I'm sorry. Is that crank anchor puppet behind Mike? It is not. It's actually a 2 Dum Yinzer puppet. We have one of each of us. Maybe I'll get mine out and put mine up here or something. But you notice the baldness? Look at how Mike, just lean back a little bit. Let's take a look at how similar you and that puppet look. It's actually really Mike. Look at that. Open up your mic. Do it with your mouth like the puppet's doing. There you go. Look at that.
Spitting image.
We couldn't have got it any
Spitting
closer.
image right there between me and him. But I want to answer that question about the quarterbacks, about sitting, starting. It, like you said, Ryan, it all depends on the situation. Like Big Ben, Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud. It's very rare you're going to have quarterbacks fall into that position and play that well. You go back and look at Peyton Manning's rookie year. Hell, even Troy Aikman's rookie year, they were god awful because the team around them was god awful. And that's why, like, if the Bears, I thought they were smart getting Caleb Williams. Yeah, they should have addressed their offensive line more. I would have sat him a year and let that team suck even more. And then this year beef up on the O line, then let him play another year. The Steelers, if they would get a quarterback in the draft and say we totally miss on every quarterback in free agency, I wouldn't be opposed to the Steelers starting a rookie quarterback. I think you have the line is not the greatest, but it's not the worst in the league. And you would have skill positions out there and let the guy learn. If you end up losing a bunch of games, so be it. Because if you trust that's your guy, I would be okay with it. But it all depends on, for me, like the situation that you're getting dumped into. Because you saw what happened to David Carr when he got drafted first overall to Houston. That team was fucking terrible and destroyed his confidence. Same thing with Tim Couch. You don't know how those guys would have fared.
Mike, do you think that the fact that we have an almost kind of semi-built team ready, just like I said, I mean, again, they say that we're more than a couple moves away. On the other hand, I don't know how much past a couple moves. Mike, if you put a rookie in a Steelers team, I know we did it with Kenny Pickett, but let's say you put a rookie that's playing behind a Steeler team that's kind of accomplished. Again, it isn't like we are sitting there as the Cardinals or any of these teams that are in the bottom of the league. Do you think that would be an advantage for a rookie, Mike, if that ended up being the case? If a rookie did come in to start, the fact that you are playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's like putting a rookie in to play with the Yankees. Say the Yankees aren't playing that good this year, it's still the Yankees. The pitcher might be okay. Does that play any effect, Mike? Say Jackson Dart comes and he ends out having to go under center next season. Does the fact that it's the Steelers actually help a little bit?
I think it would, because you look, you got George Pickens, you got Freiermuth, you got Jalen Warren, a nice little running back. Depends on if you bring Najee back. Okay, you have a nice 1-2 punch there. You got, like I said, you got George, who's an potential all-pro wide receiver. You got Freiermuth, who is a productive player. Then you got a defense that can win games. then it's going to be the thing is you as the quarterback, are you going to be able to do enough to keep that defense fresh, to keep the offense moving so the defense isn't worn down the latter half of the season the way they were this year. And I, if you draft, say you get Dart in the second, third round, you start him, he doesn't play well. Oh well, you got it next year. You can draft another quarterback because you're not burning a first round pick and then burning another one on a quarterback. I would be more comfortable drafting, in the second, third round. If it doesn't work out, okay, we got to next year we'll get a first round quarterback and then have those two on there. We got our starter, we got our backup, and if he would ever develop the quarterback you draft this year, guess what? You can move him for draft capital. And, the way the Redskins planned when they drafted RG3 and Kirk Cousins in the same draft. You just got to be smart about it.
And as you said, Mike, I kind of I re-fell in love with Jackson Dart over the combine.
It's a long
Again,
process. It's a long process.
It's a long process. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump on a couple of these messages. Mark says, Genty, or wide receiver in the first round, wide receiver running back in the second round, QB in rounds 3 through 5. He also says, Mike, why don't you grow a Scarlet?
Nah.
Which I agree 100%. Mike, I think you with the Scarlet.
No.
Could you could really bring in the ladies.
I have the head and body type for a bald head, and I make it look beautiful. I make it look stunning. I make it
all right. He also says I'd start a rookie this year, no doubt. He also then goes on to say we've got to get a productive back and another wide receiver. No two ways about that. Corey says, what do you guys think takes longer, a rebuild or a retool? Because it feels like we've been retooling for a decade now and haven't made any headway, but rebuilding could mean 2 or 3 losing seasons. Corey also goes on to say, not sure the fan base can handle it. Here's the thing. We're smack dab in the middle of it right now. So whatever we do now is going to be it has to go up. We have to start moving in the positive direction is what we got to start doing. We could talk about either rebuilding or retooling, but at the end of the day, we're already smack dab in the middle of this this mess that we're in, and I just feel the only way we could go now is up. I mean, we're sitting at at the bottom as far as offense production, and our number one paid defense surely don't look that way in the playoffs. So, they got to start figuring things out. Again, guys, we're only 9 days away. Next Wednesday at 4 o'clock, we're all going to be smiling because it's going to be the start of free agency. And this, Mike, again, splash pickups last year. You get Patrick Queen, a couple other guys. I'm expecting the Steelers to make a big splash move this year at free agency. I really am. I think that this team, I really feel that this offense is, or the office, Mike, for the Steelers are starting to feel a bit embarrassed by what's going on and by the feedback from the Pittsburgh public, for starters, and fans. I just really feel like this team feels the need to make something big happen here once free agency comes in heading into the draft.
Yeah. God. Yeah. I think they are going to make some big moves. I'm going to marry this with what Jen said, like our first prediction in free agency. DJ Reed, the corner from I forget where he's from. He's being released. I look for Pittsburgh jumping on him because I don't think Dante Jackson's coming back. I think that's going to be one of the guys that the Steelers are heavily interested in. And the front office, Omar Khan is aggressive. He's not afraid to go out and make signings. He's not afraid to make trades. And that's one thing he says in everything that he talks about. There's draft, there's free agency, there's also trades. And a lot of media and a lot of fans tend to scoot past that, the trade part. I'm looking for him to go out and make a trade. Again, there's talks that the Steelers are looking at Brandon Ayuk for a trade. And, I'm not opposed to that. You get Ayuk, and then now that can take wide receiver out of a first round need. It can push it down to a second, third round need where you can still find some good wide receivers in the second and third round this year.
Mike, do you really want to get involved with any of these San Francisco wide receivers at this point? I think that we waited so long last year, and we kind of waited on making a move with San Francisco. I'm kind of burnt out from it. Let's take a look and see what else is out there before we
like Cortland Sutton's another name.
Ayuk, which Cortland Sutton's another name. It's certainly popping up recently, but the only thing that kind of concerns me about him is he would love to come here to play with Russell Wilson, and I'm kind of on the Russell Wilson on the way out train. But when it's said and done, Mike, you get Cortland Sutton, you get a Brandon Ayuk, even Devontae Adams. You've seen that they're moving him from New York. Of course, everybody knows that what's their face? Debo Samuel went to the Commanders this weekend. I'm sorry. So he's out of the question. So, these are kind of the bigger
Yeah.
names you're looking at, Mike. Are you going to get top performance from Devontae Adams? Are you going to get top performance from Brandon Ayuk if you bring one of these guys over? Because, on paper, it's
Yeah.
going to look real nice. You're going to have George Pickens on one side, and let's just say for, example, Brandon Ayuk on the other side. And then you've got guys like Roman Wilson coming up, who's going to try to make a spot for himself this year. Of course, didn't play any last year. Calvin Austin, obviously. So do you think that you could get top production, Mike, out of one of these guys that tends to be a bit temperamental? I guess you could say when you're talking about guys like Devontae Adams.
I don't think we're gonna get a lot out of Devontae Adams. I think he's on the steady decline. You saw like when he came over, man, that connection that him and Rodgers once had was not there. The effort from him didn't seem to be there a whole lot. Ayuk, I like it. Yeah, I know he's coming back from an ACL injury, but that's like a common thing now. That's like coming back from a pulled hamstring anymore. And ACLs, that's no longer a death sentence. And up until him wanting to get a new contract, there's never been anything bad about Brandon Ayuk. So I would be real comfortable getting him. The trade value for him, I think, would be less than what it would have been last year. Because he's coming off the injury. San Francisco is openly talking about if we have to move on from him this year, we will. So, okay, I would gladly, make a trade for him. I'd give up a 3rd round, 4th round pick for him if that's what they want. The contract can, there's voidable years after the first 2 before the real big money kicks in. So that works right there.
Like, let me ask you this. Does it tan your hide that Debo Samuel went to Washington for a 5th round draft pick? I mean, we're sitting here now. You and I had a little bit of inside scoop from somebody who's a 49er fan. It told us about some of the problems. So we kind of backed off of Debo. But Mike, is it kind of tan your hide that, we're sitting there struggling last year to find a number 2 all off season, and he ends up going to Washington for a 5th round draft pick?
No,
said and done.
No, not with the contract and the value and like the money you're going to get out of him. Because no. I think there are better guys out there to be a number 2 or a potential number 1 than like the cost of the contract and the production you would get for a Brandon Ayuk or for a Debo Samuel. I think, if you would even have to swing a 3rd round pick for an Ayuk, I think, the production is going to be so much more than what you're going to get out of Debo. And I think someone like Ayuk on the other side would make George Pickens even better, because he's such a better route runner than Debo Samuel is. He's a better pure receiver than Debo Samuel's in Ayuk. So I'd much rather, after the comment that we saw in digging more into Debo, I'm okay that we didn't get him. No. I'm still looking for someone like even like a Christian Kirk out of Jacksonville. I think he'd be better fit than what Debo Samuel is. And
all right, let's jump over to Grid on Grid. He says Scarlet Mike has a ring to it, and I couldn't agree more.
Like, you guys
Mike.
aren't the only ones. Like, a buddy of mine for the longest time was wanting me to get a skullet as well.
It was meant to be. We could market it, Mike. We could make little skulleted Mike head dolls and T-shirts and everything. You could really take advantage. Let's see what else is next. Over Enthusiastic Mod Caleb says, is this a men's lifestyle podcast? Mike's all about the lifestyle podcast, but unfortunately, it is not. Let's see. Mark also says, Scarlet and handlebar mustache is your look, man. I'm telling you, you could Mike, you could go to one of them bars and be Big Bear like you always say.
Heck yeah, baby. Right? Put some respect on the Big Bear name. Wow.
Also, Mark says, I'm dead serious about growing one if I ever did start going bald.
It's got to embrace it, brother.
Let's see.
Just
Mark,
embrace it.
He says, over Enthusiastic Mod Caleb, two stylish
that
could
like be
that,
our
who's more stylish
that
than
will
these
be
two
our side channel that we have.
Let's see, Corey at Jen. Our first move will be either resigning Fields or getting a mid-tier wide receiver that won't cost us a lot, but can be number 2. Not sure which guy, but it could be Kirk or Tyler Boyd type of guy. And P, what's up, my brother? He says on this beautiful Monday morning, plus on Samuel's side, Washington is right there. You got to like what Washington's doing. I don't think that listen, I don't think Debo is good for what we need, but I think he could go to Washington and really thrive and playing
Oh
with
God.
McLaurin and the things they have going on, I think he's probably a
Yeah.
better fit for Washington than Pittsburgh. And again, Mike, you and I, we talked to somebody and they gave us
Yeah.
all the scoop on him in San Francisco, and 49er fans weren't exactly
No,
loving him.
like he would have those key drop skis the way Deontay would, and I was willing to take that with Deontay because I knew his route running ability. Teams would have to bleed over to that side, and that frees up your other receiver. With Debo, no, he's a more polished Cordella Patterson. Can be your running back, can be your receiver, can do these things, but for the money and the production, I think there are better players out there.
Mike, is there any chance? Now, again, I brought this up before with needing a quarterback, with needing a wide receiver, with possibly needing
With
a running
possibly
back.
needing an offensive
Mike,
lineman.
now, and that's going, kind of where I was going with this. If you get to if you get to
Mhm.
pick 20, and the best player in the draft is sitting there, and he's a defensive lineman, Mike, how
Mm,
tempted are the Pittsburgh Steelers to make that move to get a top tier defensive lineman? While you still, I mean, there's no
yeah.
secret we need offensive weapons. It's known league wide. Mike, is there a chance that the Steelers could go ahead and take that pick at 20, 21 and get that top defensive lineman and then worry about wide receiver, worry about running back, worry about everything
Yeah.
else after that? Or do you think that maybe also, Mike, another possibility is take care of some of these issues at the deadline next week at the free agency when it opens up, which could also
Yeah.
answer a lot of questions in the draft. But Mike, what's your take on the defensive lineman possibly being a number one overall?
I'm for it because we saw down the stretch how teams were able to bowl through us. In one position, the Steelers historically have been able to find our wide receivers up and down the draft. So they don't have to be married to getting a first round wide receiver. Now, would I love to have McMillan from Arizona, Luther Burden from Missouri, yeah, Mbaka from Ohio State? Yes, I would love to have one of those guys, even a Golden. If all four of those guys are taken by the time we get there, then there's a big drop off from those guys to that next tier wide receiver, and that second tier wide receiver is nowhere near as good as that first and second tier of D linemen. If you're going to tell me someone like Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, or Kenneth Grant are sitting there, they fall somehow to 21, and your top four receivers are gone, I'm running up to that draft podium with one of their names on there. Possibly even my top two would be right now. I'm leaning towards Grant and Harmon. I Those would be the two that I would take.
Grant
Yeah,
out of
Grant out of
Michigan, right?
Michigan, Harmon out of Oregon, even Walter Nolan out of Mississippi. Like I'm kind of softening on him. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like him. It's just a technique thing. He needs to clean up. He comes in like head first a lot. Doesn't punch with his hands a lot. But that's a
Yeah.
technique thing that can be cleaned up real quick. But yeah, any three of those guys, if the top four receivers are gone, but now if you're telling me if like say Harmon's there and one of the other receivers falls, for me it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip
Mike,
there because you need both.
who do you still who do you really realistically see
Mm.
sitting at that 21 still available, Mike? With I'm looking just at the board here, Genti and Buka, as you mentioned, Matthew Golden. You know what I mean? We're saying, okay, at 21, we're gonna try to, we're gonna get this receiver, we're gonna
Hmm.
get this receiver. Golden looks really good. I mean, realistically, how many of these guys are these top wide receivers and top running backs going to be still sitting there at 21 when it's time for the
Um,
Steelers to pick, Mike?
there's talk now that Burden or Golden can made themselves the first, could be potentially the first receiver off the board. Uh, and just the way
Yeah,
they perform because Ibaka didn't perform. He had a slight little injury, so that he was resting up until the pro day. McMillan didn't perform because he probably thinks, and his agents probably think he's locked in at a top 10 pick anyway, so there's no need to go out there. I can see Ibaka falling to in quotes falling, just because teams, other teams have other needs and that they'll take a player rated lower. I can see him falling, but if he starts to fall and the other receivers are gone, if I'm in work on, I'm looking to trade up to make sure I get him if he's the guy I want, because this is a pass happy league. Teams need receivers. If he starts falling and he's sitting there around 15, 16, and he's still the best receiver on the board, and then I'm jumping up, I'm grabbing him. We have plenty of picks to make that move, I'm doing it. Like I
Good
don't
morning
want
to
them
you.
to sit pat if like 3 receivers go quick, and then you're sitting there and one of those top guys isn't sitting there. Just trade up and get them if you really want a receiver.
Good morning, Yinzer Joe on the board.
What
Nice to
up?
see you as always, my friend. And then also good morning to John Perry. John Perry says it is sad the lack of faith that Fields with a team that actually wants him and designs for him could actually become a top 10 quarterback. Um, Mike, so what about the Quinn Ewers? Quinn Ewers. Now, I particularly don't want a quarterback whose name is Quinn. We are here in Pittsburgh. We are Big Ben kind of guys. We're Terry Bradshaw kind of
Quinn,
guys.
like
I don't know. Getting a guy
like
named Quinn is just never
he
ideal for
sounds like he
me.
should be flying down the left wing. Like
Well,
Quinn. I want him to be my left winger and not my starting quarterback.
yeah. But nonetheless, he's certainly a big name that's going to come out of the draft as well. But nobody, Mike, is nobody. I think you got top tier. You got dude from Miami. Then there's everybody else. And I got to be honest, I don't love dude Cam Ward from Miami. I've played, Pitt played against him. I've seen him play. He's nothing special. But Mike, again, we're only 9 days away.
Mhm.
9 days away from free agency opening
Yeah.
up. This is what I'm talking about. We're after the combine, heading into free agency. And then after that, we'll be looking at other things like the draft about a month or so later. So, I mean, guys, it's here. It's happening. The offseason, Mike, it's
Mhm.
officially going to be the start of the new NFL year next week. That's how they play that out. A couple other things here with the Steelers, Mike. The Steelers are bringing back two assistant coaches. Excuse me, the defensive line coach,
Mhm.
Carl Dunbar, and also outside linebacker Denzel Martin will both be returning for the Steelers, Mike. Defensive line and outside linebacker coaches, is there anything that we could have improved in that area? Or are you satisfied with the play of the defensive line and the
I'm
outside
satisfied.
linebackers?
Dunbar, he's been here a long time, and you saw guys that have cycled through here. Cam Hayward, he's made him into arguably people like to say a Hall of Famer. Stephon Tuitt, until his brother died and he retired, he was on the pace of being another top flight D tackle. Javon Hargraves. Then there's a drop off, but you looked. We kept drafting D linemen in the sixth, seventh round. It's hard to find those guys and develop them into top flight guys. Now we get them a Keanu Benton, and he made a jump from last year to this year. You wanted a bigger one, but I still think he's playing out of position due to the rest of the roster. So I like the way he developed Keanu. I want them to get a guy that can play in the middle, bump Keanu out the left, get rid of Ogunjobi. Even Ogunjobi, he helped develop him. He showed flashes. They made him a steady player, made Montravius Adams, a practice squad guy, into a good rotational piece. So I have no problem with Dunbar. The outside backers, we saw what he's done to Alex Highsmith. He came in as a third round pick that no one really knew of and made him into one of the better edge rushers. He's helping to develop Herbig. So yeah, I'm okay with those two signings coming back.
Yinzer Joe, he says, I have no doubt the Steelers will get a DT in the draft, a defensive tackle, and get a free agent receiver. Mark Malone says he should play for the Commanders. I guess he's talking about who Quinn. I'm not sure who he's talking about. We talked about a couple people.
Yeah.
Over enthusiastic mod. Caleb, I just want the Pipers to let Dr. J play QB. The Steelers really need him. And also, Mark says I'm digging Howard and Show. Who's the guy that it's coming out of Notre Dame? Which quarterback is that?
Leonard.
Do
Leonard,
not,
right?
do not,
Oh,
do
God.
not take Leonard by any. Mike, I'm watching these team playing the national championship, and they're going on about how this team just doesn't throw the ball. How do you make it to the college national championship and not throw the ball? Don't get what isn't it? Leonard. If I see that name, I'm throwing it out of here. Mark Malone says I'm digging Howard and Show. Good morning to everybody on the board. Mike, also let me get back to this. Just last week we talked about the Steelers getting an F on their report card. Did you see this? I read this over the weekend. Patrick Peterson, he says he used to have to leave the Steelers facility to go find a sauna somewhere around town when he was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's not good. Why don't we have a sauna? Why don't we have, Mike, what's the problem here?
It's really what it is. There's not enough real estate to expand because you have the shared locker room with Pitt. So
but let me jump in right there. Pitt has a beautiful locker room. If you would go look in what they have going on with computers and their lockers and everything else, why is the Steelers lagging behind, Mike? And it almost seems in everything now.
You got a cheapskate owner.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
When did this
My
happen?
man's floating around on his dad's last name.
My goodness. I just couldn't believe it. I thought
Yeah,
you can't come here to play for the Steelers
yeah,
and not find a sauna on the
yeah,
property. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Now, you know who else was digging Will Howard? The turf at the combine for all the passes I kept hitting into it.
Really?
Oh God,
Wait,
he
Will
looked.
Howard, that's the guy from Ohio State?
Yeah, yeah, he looked.
Ooh, I don't like him. I
He was throwing behind guys. He was
yeah,
throwing stuff into the turf. I know the commentators were like, "Oh well, it's not his normal receivers," but yet you're watching every other quarterback throwing out to guys that they don't know, and they're hitting guys in stride. Will Howard, he just did not look good at the combine, but it's still a long process.
absolutely.
But I just
Absolutely.
I don't know when you're throwing to multiple first round picks at the wide receiver, you got two running backs that are going to go in the top three
Absolutely.
rounds. Like it's hard. It's a hard eval. Is it you? Is it the system? Is it the guys around you? Because you look at I don't know. It's just a hard eval.
Jen says, someone tell the Steelers I will give them my employee discount at work. We sell saunas. We might have to do that, Jen.
We might have to.
Do you have a card? Um, let's see. Mark Malone, they don't call him the Junies for nothing. He also says, did he stink it up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. It really
It,
didn't look
it was not
great.
pretty.
P says, when keeping it old school goes wrong, all you need is a Weber grill, a shed, and rocks. Mike, I think maybe somebody might have mentioned this the other week, but I came across it and I just wanted to talk about it briefly. The winningest teams in the last decade in the NFL, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
this is percentage on regular season wins. Kansas City, Mike, they're batting 750.
Not bad.
No surprise that
No shock.
they don't lose. Number two in the past decade, Mike, with a 622% winning percentage is the Pittsburgh Steelers. How does it feel to not win a playoff game in
I
almost
know,
a
right?
decade, but have almost the most regular season wins? This is what I'm talking about, guys. You could have 1,000 regular season wins if you're not doing anything in the playoffs. Does it really matter? Mike, number three, coming behind the Steelers is 622. Buffalo Bills, Mike, they have a 620 winning percentage in the last decade. The Green Bay Packers with a 613. And finally, rounding it out with the top five, Baltimore with a 610. So say what you will. I mean, we're satisfied in the regular season, I guess, but we're
Mm-hmm.
ready, Mike. We're ready to win some playoff games again. Again, this is the longest period of time since the Super Bowl era began that the Steelers have not won a playoff game. This is the longest period of time. So something's got to give, guys.
Yeah, you know how we always joke, you and I, like off air, like we need Kenny Pickett would be like the ideal fourth quarter quarterback because he would just always
Yeah.
bring the team back. We have at any quarterback during the first three. If we're behind, we bring Kenny in. Like Tomlin can be our regular season coach,
Yeah.
and
And
then
then
we
we
just
want to,
find another coach for the playoffs.
yes.
And then we're good. No matter how good or bad the team is, he'll drag them to a record that will get them close to the playoffs or into the playoffs. We go to the bullpen, and we got our playoff coach. I think that works well for everyone.
Everybody, the guys on the board are all commenting on this. Corey says that's insulting, like receiving a participation trophy. Maybe hand these guys out a participation trophy and they'll feel so stupid. They want to go out and win football games in the playoffs. P says ticket sales. That's why they wanted 17. And they won 18, P. They won 18 next. Yinzer Joe
Mm-hmm.
says, well, we could also go 15-1 and still lose in the playoffs or the Super. It's absolutely true.
Yeah,
But I would like to see another win or two in the playoffs every now and then. That's actually a nice feeling. So just maybe we could do it this year, but that's not guaranteed, Mike. We thought this year would be a good year that we could have possibly got a
I know,
playoff
right?
win.
I thought this was the year.
Went over like a fart in church. It really did. Mike, let me talk about a couple other things here. I'm going to jump topic for just a few
Yeah,
moments because we had a lot of sports that went on in the Pittsburgh area this weekend.
a
I want
ton.
to go over a few things, Mike. The Pittsburgh Pirates, believe it or not, in the Grapefruit League. Are they the Grapefruit League or are they in the
Grapefruit.
Yeah, they're in the Grapefruit League. They are sitting at 6-2, which again, it's preseason. I get that. Just bear with
Mm-hmm.
me. So over the weekend, they had the D-Rays on Friday. They beat them 3-2. They beat the Orioles 5-2 on Saturday. And they dropped the game to the Detroit Tigers yesterday. Back at it today against the Yankees, Mike, at 6:35. This team is second in the National League by record. They're only a half game behind the Braves in the Grapefruit League, and they have a plus 16-point differential only behind Atlanta, who had a plus 23. Mike, 24 days, 23 days, 24 days till opening day. Any thoughts on the Pirates before I move on? I just like to breeze over them, especially now. Any thoughts on all that, Mike? Is that the Pirates going to be the same Pirates as they usually are? Am I wasting my breath?
The Pirates are going to be the Pirates until they prove otherwise. We might have, the one of the best rotations, 1 through 4 at least, but they got to pitch 8 innings every outing to guarantee a victory because the offense sucks. I'm sorry, I have no faith in Reynolds. I have no faith in O'Neal Cruz to continue.
And Mike, as far as owners and GM shit in the bed, did they pass up another opportunity to go out and put an offense together this year?
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah. We're gonna waste, Paul Skeens' career here in Pittsburgh. People want to talk about how the Steelers have wasted T.J. Watt's career and Cam Hayward's career. They've been trying to build teams every year, spending as much money as they can, and the Pirates owners spend as little as they can to try and improve a team. And they're truly going to waste Paul Skeens' career. They're going to waste Jared Jones' career here. You're going to have those 2 dominant pitchers plus Mitch Keller. No, they've done nothing to improve this team, and to think otherwise, you're delusional. Bob Nutting is great as taking your money and turning it into his money. That's all he's good at.
Let's skate over to the ice, Mike, over to PPG Arena. The Penguins are 1-5 since returning to the halfway break. 1-5 on Sunday. I'm sorry. On Friday they lost to the Maple Leafs 6-5. Saturday they lost to the Bruins 3-2. Again, a game that they let up the very first shot of the game. These Penguins, they just don't have really much going on. Back in action tomorrow. They're going out west to play the Colorado Avalanche. That game starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Penguins are coming in with a 24-29-10 record, while the Avalanche are sporting a 35-24-2 record. The only good thing, Mike, that the Penguins do have going for them right now is Sidney Crosby just passed Gordie Howe with his 1,050th career assist, becoming the 10th all-time assist leader in the NHL.
Yeah, he also had a goal that game too, and that caused him to pass someone else too in another category. So he's still going strong. He's on pace to have his 20th consecutive season, 20th season of over a point a game average. It's going to break Wayne Gretzky's record. The tank is on. I'm loving it. The sooner that if they can talk to Erik Karlsson to waive his no movement clause or say these are the teams I want to go to, the better, because my God, that guy on the power play just blindly throwing passes up the middle that lead to, breakaways and odd man rushes to give away the game. I can't wait for that to be gone. And Mike Sullivan going, I'd like to think we would be better than that. You think, coach? You think?
That's what you do. That's what you say when you're a fan. That's not what you say when you're a coach. A fan, I'd like to think that we're going to be better. The coach is supposed to be proactive and make it happen.
Yeah.
Going back real quick into Joe says, I don't know why the Pirates think Skeens will take care of it all. I agree. The guy plays one out of every 5 days. You went out and did nothing offensively. You're going to blow his career here, just like you did every other great Pirate that came and went. The National League batting champion in 2004 with Freddie Sanchez did that, gone. Every name that you go to, Mike, they all leave. It's just like it's just not good news. Again, Yinzer Joe's right. They're hoping that I'm thinking that they're hoping that people come put their asses in seats for the next 5 years or whatever, and that's going to be their meal ticket, which it usually is. But yeah, I can't imagine how this team is going to be any better than they were last year unless you figure out a way to produce more runs. These pitchers are going to do their job. But again, Paul Skeens plays 1 out of every 5 days.
Exactly. You have to hope that Jared Jones and Mitch Keller can pitch consistently throughout the season and not have the down cycle that they did. And you have to hope that Paul Skeens can be dominant the entire year.
Bonds,
game in, game out, and not get hurt.
Let me take a quick look. See, Bonds, good example. Guys, over to the hardwood. Penguins aren't the only team struggling in the Steel City. The Pittsburgh basketball team, the Pitt Panthers, they dropped their 7 of their last 9th against number 19 Louisville over the weekend. They lost 79-68. Pitt only has 2 games left. Mike, they play at North Carolina State Wednesday, 7 o'clock. And then they finish up the season hosting Boston College on Saturday. Not looking good for this team getting into the tournament. And I got to be honest with you, turning down the NIT tournament last year might have been a bad idea, because you might not even qualify for the NIT tournament this year
Right?
with
Hey,
this basketball team, Mike.
exactly. It's not like you were like completely snubbed by the selection committee last year. You go and play the tourney, have a good tourney, show players that, hey, we play here to win, have a good run, maybe get some more NIL money, maybe get some transfers. No, let's just not go. No. And this coach, Capel, oh my God. Oh my God. Just because you come from a great coach and you're on his staff does not mean you're going to be a great head coach.
He looks like the black Danny McBride.
He
Have you ever seen
he
Jeff
does.
Capel? He
Uh-huh.
does. If you think Danny McBride, he's the actor that does the movies with Seth Rogen and all them
Yeah.
guys. Jeff Capel is 100% the black Danny McBride by appearance. Mike, also, unfortunate news. I'm sorry about the Pitt Panthers sports this weekend.
Nope.
The football team, they had a 2025 recruit. He was a 4-star DB. Just enrolled at Pitt, was killed Saturday evening in Indiana in a car crash. He was 18 years old. Mason Alexander, Mike, way too early for a young person to pass. Very unfortunate. Thoughts and prayers with the family of Mason Alexander. We were going to see him in our secondary, Mike, but that's very, very unfortunate what happened this weekend.
Yeah, it's sad. It sucks. I had that happen to like a couple of my friends. They were going to a smaller school in college to go play football, and coming back from the recruiting trip, died in a car crash.
Yeah,
Sucks.
It does suck. P says Fayetteville, North Carolina owned Jeff Capel. That's right. That's very true.
Yes, they did.
Also, Mike, some more scoop here. We got the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They drew a tie this weekend with Lexington SC 0-0. That game was on Friday. They'll be back at it on Saturday. Of course, this is our soccer team here in Pittsburgh when the NC North Carolina FC team comes to town 8 o'clock next Saturday to take on the Hounds. Also, Mike, the March 28th is the date where the UFL is kicking off. UFL, that's right, the Spring Football League. The mesh between the USFL and the XFL league kicks off on March 28th. I got a couple guys, Mike, we could possibly get some UFL player guests maybe here over the next month or so from right here in the area. Yeah, absolutely. A couple NFL guys that are now in the USFL or UFL. Mike's, but they do kick off on March 28th. Also, the women, they kick off in April. That's April 26th. The Pittsburgh Passion and Gals will be kicking off in April. So we still got a little time there. And finally, Mike, over the weekend, the WPIAL basketball, which is the high school basketball championships, went down. Aliquippa. Often we talk about the athletes that come out of Aliquippa. Ty Law, Darrell Rivas, Mike Ditka, Sean Gilbert. Go down the list. They got them all. Mike, the gals, the Aliquippa gals go on and win their first WPIAL, which is Western Pennsylvania Interscholastic. You know what it is.
Whatever it means.
Whatever it means. The Aliquippa girls, Mike, for the first time since 1989, pull it off. They beat Neshannock 54-51. Congratulations to the Quips gals. Bring home the gold. Mike Blackhawk and the Aliquippa boys were a couple of teams from right here in the valley that went as well. They both took an L. Blackhawk lost 52-50 against Oakland Catholic, and the Aliquippa team lost South Allegheny. Mike, this tells you how good South Allegheny is. The final score was 37-35. Aliquippa puts about 70 plus points up every game.
Yeah.
What a basketball game that was. Only a 2-point difference, Mike. Now these teams, they go on and advance to the state playoffs to play for PIAA gold. That starts this weekend. So all these teams that lost, that made it this far, they still get to advance in the states. So good luck to all them teams, and hopefully you can bring home some more gold. Good luck to them gals in Aliquippa. Good for them.
Yeah,
huh?
exactly. Yeah, because Aliquippa's had a rough one this year. You're not really the football teams playing for state. Not really the basketball teams up there as well. So at least they got the girls this year. They're picking up the slack.
Let's get a couple of these messages in here, Mike. I don't want to leave anybody out. All right, here we go. Corey says, "Is it just me, or did the first initially look at the score before halftime yesterday look like they didn't get it? They looked at a second time and then said it 0.1 seconds. Then he scored." Which game is that? I'm so sorry, Corey. Let's see. It looked like they changed the clock before the
Yeah, I can't
seconds
remember.
replay, but I could be tripping. There was a lot of games that went down. I'm having a hard time grasping what this is particularly about. So Corey, if you could just kind of sharpen my memory on that. Also, Yinzer Joe says the Panthers basketball team knew what they had last year. This year is rough. They're probably not going to get into the playoffs. I could agree with you. They just again they lost 7 of their last 9 games that they should have won. There's a kid. He's a freshman. Brandon Cummings, he played in Midland, Lincoln Park last year, another one of our teams right here, and went all the way. Keep an eye on when he starts getting a little bit older. I like this kid a lot. Some of these other guys, I'm about ready from the go. The Diaz Graham, and I've had enough of these guys. Let's give it a year or two. I think Pitt's going to be a lot better moving forward. Did you guys see Arena Football is back, and anyone could have a team? What? No, I didn't see this. What's that all about? There is a website to sign up. We'll definitely have to check that out, Mike. Arena Football.
There we go. Hey, we could pull our resources and own a team.
That's right. We could put Corey and Caleb and Yinzer Joe and Mark, and everybody could be on our team. Corey says, is it just me, or did the first initial look at the puck before? Okay, this is what they're talking about, the hockey game. You know what? That's a good question. I for one didn't catch the hockey game. I got to be honest with you. The one yesterday, Mike, I did miss.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that is the one they lost in overtime, right? The Leafs game.
Yeah. Yeah. So when the Leafs scored to make it 5-4. Yeah. Because I'm looking at the replay right now.
Okay.
Yeah. It was really, really close.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't catch that. Mike could comment more on that than I can.
Yeah. It's like, I'm looking at it now. It's like really goddamn close. It's, ooh. It's close.
Mark Malone says Sandusky is returning to Penn State. What's that all about?
Oh, God. Oh, God. What did he do? Tunnel out of the prison like Andy Dufresne?
Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website, man?
The2dumyinzers.com. Check it out, everyone. You know what's over there. We got the links, we got the merch store, we got the blog. No mock draft today on the blog. I'm waiting for some stuff to update from the combine, new draft boards and everything. So, yeah, it'll probably be up later this week. Just keep the mock drafts rolling once a week up until the combine or up until the draft. So, yeah, check it out, everyone. The2dumyinzers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. Mark Malone said he had been marketing a soap on a rope. And
Christ.
Caleb says there's no shot. There's no shot at Sandusky. That guy's got to be getting up there, Mike. How old is Sandusky? I mean, he was old when this all played out, and this was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's still hanging on.
No mock. You're right, Caleb. There's going to be no mock draft over there, but I'll put a photo of Jim Palmer's over there for you.
I like it. Every time that you don't get to the mock draft, you just put his poster of
just
Jim
every day.
Palmer.
A different. I'll see if I can find multiple pictures of Jim Palmer posters. I can put them up there. Maybe Photoshop Ryan's head on one or something. You know,
if Mike stops jagging around, we're gonna get into the trivia for today. The
I'm sorry.
Today, Mike, is about Steeler drafts. Drafts, of course. The draft coming up won't be long. All right, thank you, Caleb. He said Sandusky's only 81.
Wow.
Hey,
hopefully he doesn't make the 82.
I'm not gonna wish death on him, but you know what? It's odd to me. It's just odd to me.
Hey, things happen. Hey,
he was only 60 when that all went down. There's no fucking way.
I have him in my death pool. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I have him.
Our death pool starts over because a couple people died over the weekend. Like I'm
taking Jerry Sandusky.
I didn't recognize a couple of the names, but Finch got a hold of us and said there's a couple people that passed.
Yeah, there were a couple people in there. I think
Stone, Melanie Stone, maybe something like that. Maggie Stone, Margie Stone. There was a Stone. Apparently, she was pretty famous, and then somebody else. So the death pool will start over, Mike. So we'll have to get our new picks in when Finch
because we keep it classy.
Well, you know what, Mike? I think Caleb beat you to the punch. He says I'm taking Sandusky in the death pool.
All right, you can have him, Caleb.
All right, Caleb got Sandusky.
Good pick, quality pick.
He says you can't take my pick, Mike.
I do what I want.
I do what I want. So here we go, guys. This is the question of the day, the trivia of the day, if you will. Mike, put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here we go. This is a Steeler draft trivia question. Here we go. Which college produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers all time? Which college produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers all time?
Ooh,
Take a
wow.
minute to think that over, guys. We're live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day, right here on YouTube. Mike, question of the day.
Ooh.
What college produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers all time? If you hit one or two, I'll give you the winner. One of the top two. If you hit either one of them, you could be correct.
Yeah,
Guys on
there's a
the
couple.
board, anybody has any guesses? Maybe throw it up there. Again, the question of the day is what college produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers all time? Do you want to talk it out, Mike? What's your thought process on this?
Well, I'm thinking, I have two from the Big Ten that are coming right to mind. Ohio State, Penn State, are up there. USC, I can name a couple guys off the top of my head as well.
Well, let's see if we can look at a couple of the lifelines. We have a couple of the phone of friends. The people on the board are giving you some ideas. Jen is saying Wisconsin. Over enthusiastic Mod Caleb is saying Frog Balls University is where I'm leaning. Mike, what college produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers all time? I'm going to give you a hint. It's nobody from the Big Ten.
Oh, shit.
Penn State did it 20, had 26 players all time. Ohio State has quite a few, but these two top teams, Mike, neither of them are from the Big Ten. One more time.
Can you give me a conference?
Which college produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm sorry, which college, yes, produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers all time?
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay. Is this your first final answer? Yeah, I'll let you give me. Yeah, give me two answers, and we'll Georgia and what else? Corey saying USC, maybe.
They're the Big Ten now, or is that just a?
It's not. It's not USC.
Okay. Let's go Georgia. Let's go with.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Penn State has 26 all time. The top team has 46.
Holy shit!
See if that helps.
God, I Pitt. Fuck it.
Pitt.
Yeah.
So Georgia and Pitt. Is that your two final answers?
Yeah, two final answers.
All right, Mike. So the question of the day is this: some help on the board. Corey said USC. Jen said Wisconsin. Over enthusiastic. Maud Caleb says Frog Balls University, which I'm still favoring. I got to be honest with you.
That's underrated school. Underrated school.
The top two teams, Mike. I'll give you the top two teams. Question of the day: what college produced the most Pittsburgh Steelers of all time? Number one with 46. 46, Mike, is the Pitt Panthers. It's regional. I mean, come on, it happens at every college.
It's right there. Yeah.
And the other one, Mike, number two, coming in with 38. 38 all time. Pitt with 46. This team with 38. Penn State's like 3 or 4 with 26. Mike, Notre Dame.
Oh,
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You're looking at colleges that produced the most Steelers in history. Pitt 46, Notre Dame 38, Penn State 26. A few of those other teams that that you would imagine are in there as well. But yes, that is the answer of the day. Pitt and Notre Dame, top two. Corey says,
not bad universities to pick from because they do produce damn good.
They produce great players. Let me see. Corey asked, did either of you watch the Oscars? It's too old Hollywood. You know what? I'm just trying to stick with my sports right now. Between politics and Hollywood and everything else, I just much would rather stick with my Pittsburgh sports. Mike did catch a little bit of the Oscars last night. He said, who was the guy?
Conan O'Brien.
No, not him. Who's the guy that with the awards that you was saying was going to be?
Timothy Chalamet. Yeah,
he got robbed. He got robbed. There you go.
Dune 2, baby. That was a great movie. It got robbed. It might have been the only movie I watched this year.
That's your Oscars coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike, anything if we do start getting ready to wrap things up for today?
God, I'm kind of sad that the combine's over. I miss watching the big, 6'6", 340-pound guys run like a 4.9 40.
Right.
Where you could feel the TV shaking
Yes.
as they run. The big uglies, some of those guys were out there moving, and it was a sight to see. It like that should be like a full-time event. It's just, throughout the year when there's a downtime in the sporting cycle, just get the big uglies and have them run combine drills. I will watch that shit all day long.
Caleb says Adam Sandler's attire was all of us watching the Oscars.
Yeah, I saw that. He was in his hoodie and jean shorts.
Hey, I'm in a hoodie and jean shorts. I think Caleb hit that one right on the head. Uh, mine is this, and I'm not. Listen, I got to tell you, don't mistake me for a guy that sits around and watches WWE. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but one thing that I caught from this past weekend, Mike, is that John Cena turned heel for the
Yeah, I
first
saw that
time.
as well. Yeah.
So I mean, if that means anything to you, that's kind of a big thing in the WWE. The guy's been around forever. Everybody knows who John Cena
Yeah.
is, and they let him turn heel. They turned him heel for the first
Yeah.
time. Like a lot of people thought that was going to be that was it for him, right? They were
Yeah.
John Cena was wrapping it up, but
Yeah. Yeah. I went down a rabbit hole the other day on Twitter going through that stuff and like watching like the little kids crying and stuff and thinking like, you know what? If I was that age, I would probably be doing the same thing. Like when Hogan turned heel back in the day. Like it was a pop culture phenomenon. Like, oh my god, he's evil now. That's the way John Cena is. He went from make a wish to break a wish. He went from love them kids to fuck them kids. And it's comical. All the memes I'm seeing on Twitter from it.
Mike, actually tomorrow actually starts the franchise tag deadline. Tomorrow's the franchise tag deadline in the NFL. I'm just kind of seeing this at the bottom of my notes, and then the 10th through the 12th will be the legal tampering. And then, of course, the free agency starts next Wednesday at 4:00. Jen was screaming. She was screaming at her TV. No, John Cena, why?
He started to go bald and then he became evil. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, that's what happens.
I used to be a nice guy when I had a whole head of hair.
Mike used to have a whole head of hair when we started this show just 700 episodes ago.
I had to deal with you, man. My fucking hair just gone.
Caleb says as it gets closer, will March Madness become a major talking point, or is if Duquesne Duke make? Yeah, of course. all the big sporting events we'll certainly talk in abundance about, and I do. I'm looking forward to March Madness as I usually do, and we'll be talking a lot about that. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Pitt's going to be involved this year, but nonetheless, it should be a lot of fun as it is every year. Corey says the Cena Hill turn was cringy. You know what? A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are so worked up about John Cena today, guys. So see what they say on Monday Night Raw tonight.
Yeet.
And see how that plays out. He should have grown a scarlet. See, there you go, Mark.
He should have. He should have.
The scarlet. It's all about the scarlet, baby. My other thing is this, Mike, you better watch out. I'm telling you, if Doge comes after you for those 12 cassette tapes you got from Columbia House back in 1993, I can't do nothing for you, man. They're going to come and they're going to make sure they get their 1 cent back because they lost a lot of tapes of that year.
Bring it. I ain't scared of you. I ain't scared of no Doge. I ain't scared of Columbia House.
Caleb says we should have a donation goal to get Mike a scarlet. What's your price? Yes. You know what? I'm really liking this idea. And you know what? So are the viewers, Mike. I think that I wouldn't want to upset the viewers like you're doing. Let's focus on
this. Is okay. Okay. Because I'm getting itchy thinking about it. That would be a lot of money. Be a lot of zeros on there. Be at least 4 zeros.
Corey says it was the storyline. It was The Rock trying to get Cody Rhodes to sell his soul. He declined. Yeah. That's what I saw. I am gonna watch. I don't watch every time wrestling's on, but I'm gonna watch it tonight. Every time you see a big story like this pop up, I'm gonna go check it out. But also, guys, Derpy's gonna try to be back tomorrow. He got a hold of me over the weekend. He's been out with pneumonia. So he gets a hold of me over the weekend. Says he's gonna be back to his old derpy ways on Tuesday, whatever that means. I'm thinking
he's gonna be in rare form. I'm gonna be annoyed with him. Ugh.
But he said he's going to try. He's going to try tomorrow. Also, Finch, I don't recall if Finch is tomorrow or Wednesday, but we sure will find out.
Yeah.
And Derpy though, Derpy, the big return of Derpy tomorrow.
The
Hopefully,
triumphant return.
triumphant return. Mike, only 299 more episodes to go till the big 1,000. You know, I'm counting down. I'll count down every day from now and then. Mike, we are so close. 299 more. Jen says beating him with the soul belt. And then also Caleb says 4 zeros. So like 50 and 0 cents, like $50, Mike. Is that what we're talking about? Because
No,
I'll certainly
no.
put forth the $50 to get that mullet growing.
No. We're talking something like that. I can't do it for. Oh no, I'm itching thinking about that amount of hair on the back of my neck. I am going crazy. I would know.
Jenna was enjoying the Hollywood Satanism behind it. A lot of interesting things on our televisions nowadays. No two ways about that. But guys, again, tomorrow we'll be back at our regular time. Hopefully, Derpy, Mark Malone said, is a delinquent bastard. Yes, he is.
I need.
And,
I need. Doctor's notes, Derpy.
to Dum Yinzers, if you raise it for charity and make it days long, it could happen. I'm not hating this idea. Caleb, I got people, Mike, he says. So, Mike, you got to put this into consideration, Mike. I think it would be great for the show if you would grow this skullet, I'm sorry. But we will continue to stay on this, guys. I'm actually writing it down right now in my notes so we don't forget. But I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys are always awesome. You always keep things interesting here on the show, and everybody at home as well. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated.
I'd rather shave my beard off, and then we can track and see how long it take me to not shave it again. Because
that's what everybody does. That come on,
pisses me off too. Like
not
right
everybody
now,
does a skullet. Come on,
I'd rather like not trim my eyebrows and see how long those hairs can get. No, I can't do it.
This will separate us from everybody else, Mike. You got to do the skullet. You got to do the skullet.
I can't do a skullet.
Lobbying for the skullet.
I'll do a lot of stuff for the team. I was willing to get a tattoo for the team.
And no tattoo. Everybody's doing a tattoo. You got to do the skullet. That's what I'm talking about. The people want to see a skullet. Skullet and handlebar need to Photoshop.
The people want a lot of things.
But when they say skullet, that's something we could provide.
But I am a magnanimous cult leader. I'll think about it.
All right, there you go. He's thinking about it, guys.
I'm thinking about it.
Skullet,
no beard. No, I need the beard to hide the quadruple chin.
I love all these ideas.
I hate
Mike, anything before we do wrap up.
I hate every single one of you right now.
He hates every one of these ideas.
No. I hate everyone behind the ideas.
Mike, anything before we take off for today? Too much hate. Not enough.
I got a lot of hate in my heart today.
You do.
I do.
I got
nothing. I can't wait for free agency to start. The combine's over. Free agency's around the corner. I can't wait. It was a great show, everyone.
9 days, everybody. Next Wednesday, 4:00 p.m. does start the free agency. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of things to talk about, guys. Jam-packed every episode. It's players are going to be moving every day from our team to other teams to other teams to our team, from other teams to other teams. It's going to be great, guys. 9 more days till the free agency does kick off. Pittsburgh Pirates will be back at it today at 6:35 against the New York Yankees. Mike, and that as far as all of our Pittsburgh sports go, most people are off. Most teams are off today, but the Pirates do play the Yankees. And again, Monday Night Raw tonight. I might tune in, go check that out and see what's going on. But I do believe that's everything for me, Mike. Anything for you? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I got nothing. Have a good day, everyone. Great show. Loved it.
And Hail Mary to the Holy Palmer poster. Hell, Mike in the Holy Palmer poster. There you go. Everybody, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow at our regular time. For Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, myself, have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.